I moved back to New York in '87 and kind of got right on the jazz scene. So I had the chance to interact with a lot of our heroes, a lot of people. So I'll mention a lot of names, not just like to drop names, but I like to drop names. But I mean, yeah. It's what you know, right? So I was hanging out with George Benson that is dressing with the Blue Note, and Billy Eckstine walks in, just kind of like wandered in, you know, and just sat down. We just like, oh God, it's Billy Eckstine, and he just started talking about, you know, he just went, he died a few months after, as I recall. So he was just feeling really reflective. He saw, you know, George, when he liked him, and he did, you know, I just happened to be in the room. And he said, he talked about, it was just hearing him talk about Charlie Parker and John Coltrane, and he referred to them as Charles and John. And I was thinking, man, I'm not going to ask who he's talking about. I wonder who Charles is. Like, why would he call him Bird? Like, he's just some kid he hired to play in his band. You know, the legend of Charlie Parker didn't happen to Billy Eckstine, it happened to us. And so, you know, he's like, you know, a lot of these guys, he's great. He said, I would tell him. He said, I told John this a lot. He said, man, they've got a wheelbarrow full of cash for you, waiting right over there, and all you got to do is stop the train and get off. He said, you keep going one more stop past, all the money was right there, you know. And so, basically, what he was saying is, you know, and the way he equated, you know, I think it was easier at some point to equate monetary success with artistic credibility. Nowadays, you know, it's kind of a crapshoot. But I guess what he was saying is, man, what you're playing is great, but it would be even better if people could follow along. So don't forget that, and being able to follow along. Because listen, you know, and there's one more quote, kind of on the same thing. There's a story it's in one of Miles's one of his books about a familiar audience member coming to see his new band play. You know, when it was over, she had this perplexed look on her face, and she said to him something like, "I don't really understand what that was. You guys just did." And he said, "Well, you know, like I've been working on this for 20 years, and you've been here about a half an hour. Like, there's a lot to expect for you to understand all of it." But what she was responding to was, you know, she didn't recognize anything. And so that's okay sometimes, as long as you know, the improviser, the artist, musician is willing, it understands that. It's when you're like, what do you mean you don't like the music? It's new. Yeah, but it's not good. You know what I mean? You know, it's not, you know, and so all this is still related to your question. And that is, so no matter how whether it's through soloing or playing a song, you know, if I'm just not feeling it, then the first thing I'm going to do is play something definite, whether it's just and so, you know, playing something definite, like it just happened. Like all of a sudden, just there, I was like, oh, I gotta stop playing, because you know, I found a little doorway, you know. But it's just because I started playing something I knew would work, not just kind of, you know, jumping around playing a scale. Just play a simple phrase, and if that's all I've got is a couple of good simple phrases, then that's all I'm gonna play.